The Cincinnati Bengals organization, led by Mike Brown, does not give a damn about its fan base, about its city, about the people who support this franchise. They don't give a damn about you. They don't care. The networks are guilty of it to some degree because a couple of years ago, or a little over a year ago, when each owner pocketed in excess of $246 million in profit from the television revenue, and the revenue that the league generated, when you got that kind of money coming in and you're able to cash that kind of check for yourself, you don't have to worry about the fact that your fans are onto you and they know what a joke you are. The Cincinnati Bengals, with all that talent, were the third lowest in attendance this year. Only the Los Angeles Chargers, playing at the StubHub Center, okay? Okay, only them, because there's a lot of things to do in L.A., a lot of things to do, as you both know, okay? And you can get distracted. You ain't got to support no mediocre team, okay? So they're number two. And the worst team in terms of attendance were the Cleveland Browns, who were winless. Outside of that, the Cincinnati Bengals are the worst team in attendance in the entire NFL. They are losing fans. People are onto them. And what do? You have a man who has been on the job for 15 years. He has never won a playoff game. He has 125 career wins. It's 125 and 112. That's his record. He is tied with Jim Mora. Playoffs? What are you talking about, playoffs? That Jim Mora for regular season wins without a postseason victory. And Jim Mora had the worst postseason record at 0-6 until a couple of years ago when Marvin Lewis went 0-7. He is the worst. Yet he is second to Bill Belichick in tenured. Okay? Mike McCarthy hasn't been on the job as long as him. Sean Payton hasn't been on the job as long as him. Mike Tomlin hasn't been on the job as long as him. Nobody has been on the job as long as this man outside of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick has 5 championships.
With a guy named Keith Simons way back when he broke my femur, different story. He played football with Marvin Lewis at Idaho State, and he vouches for the character, the discipline, everything he would do in football, and now you go.
My respect to you and your friend, but I don't give a damn. Here's what I give a damn about. The fact is, Marvin Lewis deserves to be fired. Marvin Lewis does not deserve to be a head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. Anywhere else in the NFL, you wouldn't hear me say a word. But for the city of Cincinnati, it's a disgrace. 15 seasons, this man has been the head coach, not one playoff victory. I'm sorry, you've been to the playoffs 5 straight years before missing the last 2. Your first 8 years in the NFL from 2003 to 2010, you only made the playoffs once, okay? Twice, I apologize. You look at Marvin Lewis's career, 125 regular season games. That is tied with Jim Mora for most regular season games without a postseason victory. And Jim Mora's 0-6. Playoffs? What are you talking about, playoffs? I'm just trying to win a game. Remember that dude? He was 0-6 in the postseason. Who's 0-7? It would happen to be Marvin Lewis. Yet still, he's the second most tenured coach in the National Football League. Only Bill Belichick has coached longer than him. Sean Payton's got a Super Bowl championship. He's coached longer than Sean Payton. He's coached longer than Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl champion. Longer than Mike Tomlin, Super Bowl champion. And I don't even want to go down a list of others who didn't win Super Bowls, but at least had the decency to win a playoff game. This man has not won a playoff game. To keep him employed in the city of Cincinnati, as far as I'm concerned, Mike Brown and Cincinnati Bengals ownership has essentially given the city of Cincinnati the proverbial finger, told them to go kick rocks. We don't care what you think or how we feel because we're getting paid. Why? This is the third team, lowest attendance in the league. Only the Chargers in LA at the StubHub Center and the winless Cleveland Browns have worse attendance than the Cincinnati Bengals. So the fan base is abandoning you. Your winning has abandoned. Your level of productivity has abandoned. And you still keep a job? It's disgraceful. There is no excuse for it. As far as I'm concerned, it's an abomination of the highest order when it comes to coaching, because what you're saying is you don't care about winning, and you're flagrantly letting your audience, your patrons, know it. and you don't care, evidently because you got a TV contract that's ultimately going to get you paid. That's the only thing that makes sense, but it's an embarrassment.
Adam, you reported that Marvin Lewis was looking elsewhere, as I said a mention ago, and the sense seemed to be that his time was up there in Cincinnati. So why did the Bengals decide to stick with Lewis despite his poor playoff record?
Well, the initial report was that he was planning to move on from the Bengals, and I can tell you that the coaches on that staff are completely shocked that he got the extension done, but they're very pleased that he's back because of what he's meant to that organization and all that he's brought to that particular city. I think a lot of people thought Marvin Lewis was going to be leaving Cincinnati after the season. What happened is, after the season, he was going to sit down with the Bengals owner, Mike Brown. That was always the plan. And as they sat down and began to hash out the issues, it was clear that they both felt that they were useful and helpful for each other, and they were able to figure out a 2-year extension. Look, Hugh Jackson wasn't going to be available to come back to Cincinnati. Jay Gruden wasn't going to be available to come back to Cincinnati. Marvin had his own concerns that were addressed during these meetings. I think there was some sentiment within that organization that the assistant coaches whose contracts were up were not being treated in a fair and appropriate way. I'm sure that was